Welcome to Book Solid, the home service growth podcast. Helping service businesses capture more calls, respond faster to leads, and turn more opportunities into book jobs.
A plumbing company thought it needed more calls. Then the owner reviewed 12 unbooked opportunities from 1 week and found the biggest leak was simple. Customers needed appointment windows the office never offered. 4 people needed same-day or next morning service. The next available option they heard was Friday afternoon, so they called somebody else. The company did not have a lead problem. It had a visibility problem. Nobody had stopped to ask where the unbooked leads were actually going. Before you sent another dollar trying to generate more leads, explain the ones you already received.
Welcome to Booked Solid, the home service growth podcast. If you run a plumbing, HVAC, electrical, roofing, landscaping, or other home service business, this podcast is for you. Most service companies think they need more marketing, but many are losing thousands of dollars every month through missed calls, slow follow-up, and leads that disappear without a clear explanation. I'm Jeff, and I share practical systems that help you capture more calls, respond faster, and turn more opportunities into booked jobs without adding unnecessary office complexity. Today, we're going to build a simple tool for answering one important question. Why did that lead not become a job?
Here is my rule. Before you buy more leads, explain every unbooked lead from last week. Not because every opportunity should have become a job. Some customers will choose another company. Some requests will be outside your service area. Some people are only gathering information. But a lot of losses are preventable. A call was returned too late. A customer was offered one appointment that did not work. An estimate was sent with no explanation. A follow-up had no owner. If all of those situations are marked simply as lost, your report may look tidy, but it cannot tell you what to fix. And if you cannot identify the leak, adding more water does not solve the problem. I call the solution a lost lead ledger. It can live in your existing customer software, a spreadsheet, or a shared form. The tool matters less than the habit. Let's return to that plumbing example. This is a representative scenario, not a complicated case study. During 1 week, the company had 12 opportunities that did not become booked jobs. The owner assumed the team needed more demand. Maybe the advertising was not working. Maybe competitors were getting more calls. But the office reviewed each record. 4 customers had asked for same-day or next morning service. The company had technicians working, but the office offered only a narrow set of appointment windows. 3 more customers had questions about timing, but nobody offered a cancellation list or another technician. The owner had been thinking, we need more demand. The customer was thinking, I need a time that works. That gap is where the job disappeared. The first test was simple. When the requested time was unavailable, the office offered 2 alternatives, checked for another qualified technician, and added flexible customers to a short notice list. It did not recover every opportunity. It did give the team a way to stop losing the same kind of job for the same reason.
To build your ledger, keep it small. 5 fields are enough. Write down where the lead came from: phone, website form, referral, online directory, or existing customer. You are not building a perfect marketing attribution system. You are looking for patterns. Then record the service type: drain problem, water heater, air conditioning repair, roof inspection, electrical upgrade. This matters because urgency and capacity can change from one service to another. That is enough to answer 2 basic questions. Where did the opportunity come from, and what kind of work was it?
Next, capture response time. Was the call answered immediately? Was it returned in 10 minutes, 2 hours, or the next morning? For a web form, the same question applies. Then record the outcome. Did the customer book somewhere else, stop responding, postpone the project, get referred to another provider, or is the result still unconfirmed? Finally, record the loss reason. This is the field that turns a list into a management tool. And notice what is missing: 15 required questions, a long narrative, and a perfect explanation for every customer. The person closing the lead record should update these fields while the details are still fresh. If it takes 10 minutes, the process will not survive a busy Monday. useful data without a new administrative job. That is the entire point.
For loss reasons, use a short list that everyone understands the same way. No response means your team followed up, but the customer did not reply after the agreed attempts. Booked elsewhere means the customer said they hired another provider, or you have reliable confirmation. No capacity means you wanted the work, but could not offer a workable time, technician, or service window. Price objection means the customer declined after receiving the price, or said the cost was too high. Outside service area means the request was not in a market you serve. Not ready means the customer is delaying, gathering information, or waiting for a future decision. You may need 1 or 2 categories specific to your company, but keep the list short. And do not guess. If the customer never said why they did not book, mark the reason as unconfirmed. Accurate uncertainty is more useful than confident fiction. A note saying, customer needed same-day service, next opening was Friday, gives your team something to act on. A note saying, lost, does not.
Now, how do you use the ledger without turning it into another meeting nobody wants to attend? Set aside 20 minutes once a week. Same day, same person, same simple routine. Count the reason codes from the previous 7 days, then choose the biggest actionable pattern, not necessarily the largest category overall. If outside service area is high, you may need better qualification. But if no response is high and your team can improve follow-up this week, that is probably the better test. Pull up 3 or 4 real examples. Ask, when did the lead arrive? Who owned it? How quickly was contact attempted? Was a next step scheduled? Was the customer offered an alternative? You are not putting someone on trial. You are looking for the moment when the process made booking harder than it needed to be.
The fix should match the reason. Slow response means assign an owner and a backup. A missed call should not sit in a queue waiting for someone to notice it. No capacity means give the office alternatives, a wider arrival window, another qualified technician, a cancellation list, or a later appointment when the customer is comfortable waiting. Price concern means explain the estimate, what is included, what problem is being solved, what happens next. A clear explanation is not pressure, it is useful information. No response means define a respectful follow-up sequence. A call, a short text, and a reminder the next day may be enough. The important part is that someone knows the next step. Outside the service area means qualify earlier. Not ready means record when it makes sense to check back and assign that follow-up to a person. Do not test all 6 fixes at once. Choose one. Otherwise, you will not know what changed or what actually helped.
Here's what that looks like with the 12 unbooked opportunities from our example. 4 were marked no response, 3 were no capacity, 2 involved price concerns, 1 was outside the area, 1 was not ready, and 1 was unconfirmed. The owner might be tempted to focus on price because price feels like the most direct revenue issue, but no response is the largest clear pattern, so the team reviews those 4 records. 2 arrived after the office closed and were not contacted until morning. 1 was assigned to someone who was out in the field. The last one received a single call, but no follow-up was scheduled. The next test is obvious. Create an after-hours response, assign a backup owner, and schedule the next contact before closing the record. The following week, the team reviews the same categories. If no response drops from 4 to 2, that is progress. If no capacity becomes the largest issue, that is useful too. The next priority is now visible. That is how improvement becomes routine. Identify one pattern, make one change, observe the result, and adjust.
There is one more comparison worth making. Look at a few leads that booked and a few that did not. Did the booked customers receive a faster response? Were they offered more than one appointment option? Did someone explain the estimate? Did the office ask for the booking clearly? You do not need a complicated analysis. A handful of examples can reveal a difference your team can repeat. And make the ledger part of normal work. The person who closes the lead record updates it. The manager reviews it weekly. If the information goes into a file nobody opens, it becomes a task people eventually abandon. The best system is the one your team can maintain on a busy day. So if you want to start this week, create 5 columns in the system you already use. Source, service type, response time, outcome, and loss reason. Review the last 2 weeks if that is manageable. If not, start with new unbooked opportunities today.
Use unconfirmed when you do not know. Pick one actionable reason at the end of the week. Test one fix for 7 days.
You do not need another coordinator just to discover why leads are slipping away. You do not need more advertising before understanding what happens to the opportunities already reaching your team. You need a clear record, consistent language, and a short weekly habit. Some leads will always be lost. That is business. The goal is to eliminate the preventable ones. The call nobody returned, the customer who was never offered an alternative, the estimate that was never explained, and the prospect who had no clear follow-up owner. When you replace lost with a specific reason, the next improvement becomes much easier to see. If you want more practical ideas, download the free guide, 107 Quick Wins for Home Service Businesses at ProfitPulse.biz. Then take 20 minutes this week to review your recent unbooked leads and choose one fix. Thanks for listening to Booked Solid, the Home Service Growth Podcast. Subscribe so you do not miss future episodes, and share this one with another contractor who could use it. Keep building systems that turn more calls into booked jobs.